This is my art documentary on Stephen Wiltshire's London Panorama. Born into a West Indian family in 1974 and brought up in Little Venice, London, Stephen Wiltshire is an artist who mainly draws detailed, accurate and lifelike cityscapes, mostly from memory. Aged 3, he was diagnosed with autism, and at school the only thing Wiltshire really loved was drawing. His teachers encouraged him to talk by taking away his art equipment. Eventually, aged 5, he said his first word: paper. Wiltshire's outstanding artistic ability led to him being named the Drawer at school, and Sir Hugh Casson, then president of the Royal Academy, even labelled him as possibly the best child artist in Britain. Stephen later went to study fine art at City and Guilds Art College, where he thrived, doing multiple prints and drawings, mostly of his obsession, buildings. Due to Stephen's condition, he has become the greatest and most famous autistic savant in the world. Having been awarded an MBE for services to the art world in 2006, Stephen has opened his own gallery in London's Royal Opera Arcade. I couldn't wait to go there to gain a first-hand experience of his work. I was bombarded by the breadth of his art, from exceptional drawings to paper sculptures. But what really caught my attention was the size and scale of his detailed panoramic drawings. These really reflect his passion and determination, which Wiltshire's own personal motto sums up:
do the best you can and never stop.
Whilst at the gallery, I watched a video of him working on a panorama, and it was mesmerising to observe the speed of both his pen and his memory. The video showed his method and process, as well as the physicality of his work. Stephen works frequently in monochrome, stripping the architecture back to its bare bones, whilst retaining a sense of the city's character. He begins with a very simple sketch in pencil. As he draws, his pen skims the surface of the canvas. Using only one finger as aid to the perspective, he then adds fine detail with pen, and sometimes also ink, to make the city emerge before our eyes. His sister Annette describes observing him work as like watching a fine embroiderer, with the darts of his pen on the paper mimicking intricate stitches. Wiltshire has completed large-scale panoramas of cities worldwide, but in 2008 he set himself a challenge to draw a panorama of the City of London. The canvas, which was the largest he has ever attempted, set him a new challenge in terms of space, helping him develop his skills and express himself on a greater expanse. He drew a perfectly scaled aerial illustration of 7 square miles on a 13-foot long curved canvas, never referring to notes, sketches or photographs. Within the composition there are 12 landmarks, including the Gherkin and Canary Wharf, and around 200 other buildings. With 11 pens, 3 pencils and some ink, Stephen has used his phenomenal, probably eidetic memory and quantitative view of the world to create interest. He subconsciously counts windows, floors and chimneys, imbuing his work with a remarkable attention to detail. The drawing looks as if he spent months studying the architecture of the city, whilst in fact he studied it for only 15 minutes on a helicopter ride, and completed the drawing in just 5 days. Stephen's love of detailed line drawing contrasts with his shadows, creating texture and tone. He uses directions and intersections to orientate the viewer around his drawing of London, enabling us to really engage with his work, reminding us of our own memories in the city, whilst the speed and fluidity of his sketchy, even figurative lines echoes the energy and rush of city life. This iconic drawing shows his connection with buildings and his deep love for his home city. His gift truly manifests within this piece of work, which is hugely self-confident and powerful. Wiltshire's personality is presented. Stephen said his work is my form of language, perhaps echoing his muteness as a child. This extraordinary man is a true great among artists. You cannot fail to be moved by the vigour, excitement, dynamism and scale of his work. Stephen has been labelled as a living camera, or human camera. Personally, I disagree. I see interpretation throughout his work, and do not view his drawings as robotically precise interpretations of his subjects. His work is not perfect, and it's not trying to be. There is no doubt that his depictions are direct in the sense that every aspect of what Stephen observes comes to life on the canvas. But this is through his use of angles and perspective. He often rearranges the patterns he sees. He has done this by adding and subtracting details from buildings. For instance, the building to the right of the HSB Bank Tower block at Canary Wharf has been lowered. The post office tower has been moved. The tower block has also been moved away from the left side of the Gherkin, and he has increased the size of St Paul's Cathedral by cleverly changing the emphasis of the perspectives. Wiltshire has managed to provide a more emotional, powerful and creative response. For example, by enlarging St Paul's and the space surrounding the Gherkin, he has strengthened the iconic landmarks, making them even easier for the viewer to perceive. His amazing, resonating visual is thought-provoking, exciting, and presents a sense of communication which is much more creative than any photo. Dr. Oliver Sacks, a neurologist and psychologist, explains, "His pictures in no sense resemble copies or photographs, something mechanical and impersonal. There are always additions, subtractions, revisions, and of course, Stephen's unmistakable style." His sister, Annette, believes that drawing for Stephen is like air and water for us. He can't live without it. His autism has given him gifts of exceptional memory, accuracy, focus, obsession, and repetition that, matched with his artistic ability, style, passion, and determination, has given us a truly unique artist who, I believe, provides us with a new way of perceiving our surroundings.